So let's go to clip 5.
Shit. That thing crossed her forehead.
So for me, I don't believe in forgiveness if you don't want to forgive.
Oh.
That's my philosophy. I'm very happy with still hating people because it makes me happy.
I love that.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I feel like a lot of people are like, forgiveness is gonna heal you.
Yeah.
You're gonna be better, you know? I think if it's eating away at you where it's like affecting your life, then maybe you should try a different avenue. But I'm very comfortable with hating people from my past.
How much energy does it take for you to just constantly be on hate mode? You know, it has to be really draining. It has to be really draining.
Yeah, man.
And
Everybody that
she probably
agrees.
she probably hates somebody for the smallest thing too. Oh, he took a quarter off my nightstand or something like that. You know, it's stupid.
Yeah. Everybody that agrees with Amber Rose, put a 1 in the chat. Everybody that disagrees, put a 2. Yeah, man, it's crazy. So,
You know, it takes so much energy to just maintain hate throughout the rest of your life. You
I don't know
know,
why I got so much phlegm in my throat, man. It's crazy.
And water change to do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So now I can tell from that video that, you know, obviously, let me see. Eli says she the biggest hater. She hate the way that you walked. When did you talk? Hit the
She hate herself.
hit the sound, the one that says Ken.
Mm-hmm. This one.
Yeah.
You don't know nothing about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
That's for y'all, man. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
So
Man, the
Yeah.
thing is, though, she
Yeah.
has a lot. I see a lot of self-hatred going on within herself too, man. And
yeah, a lot of hurt, man.
has she ever got therapy? Has she ever got counseling?
I mean, you know, the therapists nowadays, man, you could pick whichever therapist you want. And a lot of people pay therapists to agree with them.
That's true too. That facts. That is true too, man.
So-
'Cause like I said, I take on counseling, and the thing is, when I go, I want people to tell me the truth of what I need to fix within myself.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I go for, so I can make those true adjustments.
Yeah.
Cause I don't have a problem admitting, man, I'm messed up. I don't have a problem with that. That's
I don't
how,
have a
that's
problem admitting that you messed up
how we-
either.
I know you don't.
Hey, man, everybody put it in the chat. Tony messed up, dog.
Shoot,
But
look, I know I have my issues. I know. Look, man, I'm not perfect, dude.
we
Shoot.
all sinners,
But
man.
here's my thing, though. We gotta be
sinners
open. We gotta
saved
be
by
willing to
grace,
accept that.
turned into saints.
We gotta be willing to accept that at the end of the day. We gotta be able to actually truly accept the fact that we all need fixing at some certain points of parts of our lives, man. So
Yeah. You know, with not being able to forgive, like what she's saying, when people speak like this, it's like I don't like hate on, you know, Amber Rose or whatever. Those people, man, I feel like it's scary because they're so deep into this dark hole that they don't even know that they need to be saved from that. They don't even know at this point. Like, you don't believe in God, you don't believe in forgiveness, you know, it's like you're okay with hating people. Like,
Man.
now to her point, like I can see, like, not to say that I agree. I definitely don't agree, but I understand it's very hard to get past certain situations that may have happened. She said hating people from her past. So it's like, yes, I hear you, I feel you, but you just don't understand what you're actually doing to yourself. That's why when you said self-hate, I was like, that's kind of what that is, but they don't realize it.
I would say that self-hate, along with a lot of untreated childhood trauma, maybe.
Yeah.
A lot of it stems from childhood trauma. I could attest to some things, you know.
And she's saying she can move on by allowing herself to keep hating that person, but you can't possibly
If you're
move
still
on.
hating the person, you're not moving on.
That means they're ingrained in your head. If you like, you can't have hate for a person if you like you've moved on, but the hate is still there. It's like that's kind of a contradiction. It's like if I don't think about the person anymore, that's you moved on. If I don't feel if the scratch is healed and it's scarred over and it's healed, then it's like, oh yeah, now I moved on. But I don't move on if this scratch is still there. Hating takes effort. Hating means every time I see this person, I think about this person, like you have that mindset. So that means you haven't moved on at all. So you're not healed. And I get it, like forgiveness itself doesn't necessarily. So these are a few notes I had on forgiveness. So, let's say something really
Speak on it.
terrible happened, right? Something very terrible, like we think about, oh, this person mistreated me, but no. Let's get deep on this. A situation happens and it's very traumatic, like someone in your family dies by the hands of someone else. Let's say even more traumatic. Let's say this guy killed a few people in your household. Like, cause people are dealing with some serious stuff that, like, we as Christians sometimes we can look past and say that we can minimize it to, oh well, somebody probably talked about you and you hate them. Like, no, yeah, that's some people have a, more sensitive to things, and that forgiveness is difficult. But that's the one that you can speak to them, counsel them for a minute, and y'all can get past. But for somebody that's like, oh, there's been death in my family, I know who did it. Like, now that I know some people that had to learn forgiveness for people that they wanted to take their lives because of what they did to certain people in their family. And I know some people that really had to learn true forgiveness. Now, me, obviously, like, yeah, we don't know for sure if we would have the ability to be able to forgive. We at least have to be, as Christians, we have to be real with ourselves and say, look, I preach forgiveness. I want to forgive. I know that if I don't forgive, I'm wrong. But society will tell you, forgive fast. And yes, you should forgive as fast as you possibly can. But we don't want is a fake it till you make it forgiveness where, oh, I forgave them, so now the people who are telling me to forgive can move on. And it's like, now you feel better because you told me to forgive and I did, but did I really forgive? That should be the Christian's concern. Like, let me make sure this person actually understands forgiveness, because the Bible says forgive 62 times and it says forgiveness 27 times. But do people actually know how to do it? Like, the Bible tells you to forgive, but then you have to go into how the Bible actually tells you to forgive. How are you supposed to forgive? And the way that you uncover how to forgive is first to figure out why. Because you can say, how do I forgive? But you can never get to actual forgiveness if you don't understand, why do I need to forgive? So why would you forgive a murderer? You know what I'm saying? Why would you forgive someone that has offed certain family members that you have? I mean, it gets deep and people think about it like on such a simple level, like, oh, this girl talked about me. Like, no. Let's go deep. So society expects us to fake forgiveness. Like, just say the word. Okay, good. I feel better because you forgave. And it's like, no.
It don't work like that.
It don't work like
It don't
that.
work like
Sometimes
that.
it takes, like, I want to be there for you. Long suffering, one of the fruits of the spirit. You got long suffering. I'm gonna be here with you, and say, hey, if you don't feel like forgiving yet, like, I'm here with you. I can't tell you that I agree with you, but I still want to be here so you can take like a actual, path to forgiveness. Growing Richard said, great point. There are people that have trauma that we can't comprehend easily. Exactly. And we have to understand before we just say, oh, well, it's a sin. You need to forgive. And if you don't forgive, then, I don't want anything to do with you. It's like, no. Have some compassion, have some understanding. You probably haven't been through what they've been through. And even if you have, you probably don't have you probably had, there are different variables. There are people who go through so much in their mind and they may not go through as many. Like, I'm going to tell you, what did it say? Self-deletion is a privilege of the high class. It's like, we don't know their mindsets. Like, they have never been through, like, if your child doesn't learn how to change the tire, how to do these difficult things as they're growing up, then it's going to be way harder for them. So you have to have understanding for all of those privileged, spoiled people that have not been through the ropes, so they don't know what to do. So it's like, have some compassion. Don't just think, oh, well, we haven't been through this physical hardship, so you should be able to deal with forgiveness quite easily. It's like, well, it's actually going to be 10 times harder for somebody who hasn't been through a bunch of junk.
It's always harder
because they're not
it's always
used
harder
to
for
it.
you the one actually going through it yourself.
Exactly.
It's always harder.
So the how cannot be really answered. until you understand why.
Mm-hmm.
Now, forgiveness is not designed to set the person free from all, guilt, from all, it's designed to set you free.
Exactly.
It's designed to help you. Okay,
To get that weight
I
off your
think I'm
shoulders.
actually going to do something about my issue and I'm going to move on.
Mm-hmm.
And how it would feel if, you let this person go, you give it to God, that person inside of you that you haven't seen in a minute, that person gets to live free now. Now that person, you, the happy version of you, that you get to let, like, that monster that did this terrible thing is attached to you for the rest of your life until you let them go.
Right.
Now you have to live with that person for the rest of your life, and it's like, until you let that person go, whatever. Like, God, have your way in their life, whatever. Like, now you're actually at a place where, like, dog, I don't feel like now you don't have to worry about, am I a terrible person anymore? That self-hatred could be coming from you not forgiving someone else, and you don't even know. So
Learning that forgiveness piece was even hard for me. 'Cause I come from a place
yeah,
where like hate reigns supreme.
Mm.
Hate truly does reign supreme. And if you got conflict, beef ain't never squashed. You better be on your game. You better be ready to handle that. So it's like, I can tell you about an incident from back in my childhood, say like 2003, where there was a situation where my brother, he was in some stuff, and he was staying with my grandparents at the time, and some dudes kicked in the door.
Mm.
He wasn't home at the time, but both my grandparents were held at gunpoint in two separate rooms. They were robbing the spot. One of the intruders, yeah. One intruders left out the room my granddad was and allowed him enough time for him to go retrieve a 357 revolver. As soon as that intruder came back in, that intruder took around to the stomach,
Mm.
and my granddad pretty much kicked the gunfight off, and he won. But the thing is, the forgiveness piece was hard for me because, like, okay, these two dudes came in my people's house with the sole purpose of to rob or possibly do harm to them. What if my grandparents wouldn't have lived through that? I couldn't forgive them.
Yeah.
My mindset, even after that situation, though, my mindset was, it's on.
Yeah.
I gotta get. I'm 10 years old with the mindset. I gotta get out here and get after it now and get after them.
Yeah.
I didn't know what forgiveness was then. I didn't know anything. My mindset was, beef is on. It's go now. As a young child, I had that mentality, and it is up until probably about like 16, 17, it was hard for me to break.
Mm.
So I know what it's like to experience. I know what it's like to truly experience trauma. Your friends die. Your family died a lot at the hands of another. Going to funerals all the time. I've experienced war. It's tough, man. So I understand the trauma. I understand like the hard what it takes to actually truly forgive somebody. So, as far as I'm concerned, I think those dudes are. I don't. As far as those dudes, I don't think they're walking this earth anymore. To be honest, but yeah. But
And some people think that if you forgive someone, then this is going to make you a pushover. You're going to allow things to happen, and it's like, no, we are not saying that if someone, like if they came into our house and stole our PlayStation, that doesn't mean that we're going to allow them to come in our house again and steal it. Like, you can never come in my house again, but
no.
Enjoy them games.
The thing is, okay, if you forgive somebody, that's one thing, but don't forget. Don't forget the lesson learned from that situation.
Exactly.
That's the main thing about that.
Because if you forgive and you just give them a clean slate and you just like, yeah, dude, I don't even care about that anymore. Come back on. Then you're a fool. Like, what?
And then you're bringing on the same situation again. Before that happens to you again.
Now, y'all could slowly build trust up, and depending on what the situation is, y'all could slowly build up trust again. But you don't just be dumb and let somebody, take over you again, because these people are savages, some of them.
Mm-hmm.
So now this is the next point I wanted to bring up. The reason why it's so important to forgive is because there are some men that are just dogs, and they mistreat women, and they just players. They don't care about them, and they don't care about the dude that they cheating on their woman with. Like, they don't. And then women can become for the streets, and they don't care. They're gonna do what they want. They can become real nasty. And what we're doing, we're in a cycle
A
of
reciprocating cycle.
creating savages, man.
Yes.
And we can't get past it because they did me dirty. I'm gonna do the. It's like in sororities where they hit us with the paddle. We're gonna hit the next people with the paddle.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like it's a continuous cycle where this
Yeah.
just keeps happening. It's like, wait a minute. I think there was like a, I don't know if it was some movie where it's like, wait a minute, do we have to? It's like they're the ones that hit you with the paddle, right? But obviously, like, we're not preaching like you should hit the people back with the paddle, but it's like you're keeping a curse going by not forgiving someone is keeping a curse going. So you're basically allowing them to control your emotions every time you see them, every time you think about them, every time. Well, I feel like I'm fixing my bra every time my shirt. Every
Really?
time my shirt.
Really?
Let me fix this. My bra slipping out. No, just playing.
I hope you ain't got a bra on.
Nah, I ain't got no bra, man.
We had to talk about that.
I left my bra in my drawer. No, I'm playing. I ain't got no bra.
Boy.
But yeah, so you're allowing them to create a savage in you, and then you're gonna hurt the next person and create some savages in these people, and it's a terrible process. But once you forgive, it's like, yeah, it does feel like crap for like the first time, and it feels like very terrible because like you let them get one up on you, and you're not going to get them back. And we love those movies where revenge, and I love those because that's why I get my joy. You know what I'm saying? When somebody does me wrong, I'll watch a movie and watch somebody get somebody back for what they did. Oh yeah, it feels so good. But it's like I don't want to take on that mindset. I want to be able to, like, all right, I'm gonna let it go. And there are certain moments where you can get back at somebody and you weren't vengeful. And that's like such a golden moment. Like at the job, your boss is treating you wrong, but you don't want to lose your job. So it's like, but you can, like, I've had moments where I was at work and it was like I forgave them, but at the same time it was like I got them on a certain moment where they look really dumb. And I wasn't disrespectful. They just looked dumb in front of everybody. I was like, oh man, it's such a great moment where
Yeah.
I didn't have to act out of character. Those moments, I feel like God allowed me to have that. That was,
So did you have the mindset? Gotcha.
I felt it, but I was just like, I was playing it cool. Like, they look dumb. Everybody sees that they look dumb because they tried to correct me on that, and they know like Ashley was right. Now you look stupid. So I wait for those moments, and maybe I get too joyful for those. But hey, like I'm saying, God, we all work in progress.
They go
So,
to moments. Hey, you gotta love it.
But I'm not trying to create savages for sure.
You're not crazy savage. You just join a little bit of you just join like the small little moral victories. You know.
If God gave me that win, God will allow you to see. Honestly, when God allows you to see somebody's downfall that treated you wrong, you're gonna feel bad for them. Depending on the situation.
Depend on the situation. Because let me
Like
tell
if
you
somebody is abusive, and they're like an abusive manager, whatever, or an abusive coworker or ministry in your church, whatever, and they're talking down on you, when they end up in a bad situation and you show nothing but love to them, like my granddad, on my mom's side, he said that he he used to be an officer and he didn't cuss. He was still a Christian. You know what I'm saying? He was a Christian man. And this guy talked so much bad about him. He said, no, he did this and he cussed me out. And they said, Jimmy did not do that. Like, you could have said anybody else's name. Jimmy did not do that. That is not true. And then, he just talked so bad about him. He spit on him and all this, and he was just so respectful, and then all of a sudden he started crying because he said, man, I've treated you so bad and you just, you were just there and I cannot. And I've had moments where that has happened to me where people have treated me bad and they came back and apologized in tears, because of how and I'm not saying I'm some upright, like perfect guy. I try my best, but those moments, you kind of feel bad, like, oh man, I don't know what created this person. It's like when you watch, like if you ever watch anime, you see these villains and you're like, yo, I hated this villain. I hated what he did. But now it's like, geez, he had it rough. You know, so it's a cycle, man. It's not just you when you think deeper on a deeper perspective. It's not like you're gonna love the guy like and think he's Barney, but you have some understand. Ah, that's what caused you to be this way. Like I could go into that, man. It's just. I just say think a little deeper, man. Think a
Yep.
little deeper, because these people that's treating you so bad, they got some terrible junk going on in their lives. They're dealing with stuff, and you could be the very person to bring them out, but you're thinking about, oh, they cuss me out, so I hate them now.
I
It's
will.
like,
I will
you
say
know,
this here now. People that treat other people bad because people go out their way to treat other people bad because they hate something within themselves. They hate what they see in the mirror, and that's often the case every
yeah.
time.
Sometimes it's that
It's
projection.
either whether they got something going on at home, something internal within themselves, and they just like to project on others.
Yeah.
So that's why you got to
So
watch who you walk amongst.
so the last thing I wanted to say on forgiveness is it forces us to look at our old wounds, so our scars over time can heal. It forces us to look within ourselves and deal with the internal things, and that's what we don't want to do. We would rather blame things that we feel, pain that we feel, on other people, and what they did. They're the reason that this happened. They're the reason that this happened, and I've done it for sure. Um, and I didn't want to look at myself and say, hey, you know what? I could blame that person, but I would rather. I feel like over time it gets easier to forgive the more you figure out what the problem is. A lot of times, like I said, some situations is hard. They're harder. They're a lot more difficult. I get it, but for the most part, you get to find out that this was not a them problem at all. This was a me problem. I had an issue. I couldn't stand I couldn't stand myself. I didn't think I was a real man. And when they messed with that and they pointed it out and they tried me and they belittled me and they looked down on me, I didn't want to forgive them. But then I felt like it wouldn't have bothered me as much if I dealt with my own lack of confidence. You know,
Preach
if they
on.
did something negative to me, it wouldn't have bothered me as much if I felt like I was prepared in my finances. When they stole from me, I had a plan of preparation ready. You know, it's just certain things like that. Like I don't like if your parents are doing something negative and they're bad, like that's a learned lesson. And they were a kid at
Yeah.
some point. So it's like now I can, but this conversation about forgiveness, man, it's gonna keep going. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So we definitely gonna have to cover that
It
more
goes very deep. It really
on the
does.
show.